Well, I work with animals and lot reptiles, as he was saying. I also have TNL Outdoor, which is another hunting organization I do. We have a booth set up over there. This is my brother Logan Lott. He also helps me with TNL Outdoor. Now, we also work with the Nature Conservancy, doing tours around the Boston Rocks Preserve area, and we also work with Coffee General State Park, where we actually have our permits that have our reptiles and do what we do.
We are licensed through the state to do this, and we're about to get started here and show y'all some of the animals we brought out, starting with talking about snake safety. So how many of y'all, by show of hands, are afraid of snakes? Well, maybe after tonight, some of those hands will go down because most of the snakes we have wouldn't hurt anything other than mice. So I'm going to let Tyler talk a little bit about some of the first things we've got over here.
As we're going over here and getting this for a minute, I'd like to say if there's any kids and y'all see any snake out in the wild, please do not pick it up because you may not know what kind it is. Please contact an adult near you and let them handle the situation. Now these snakes that we have right here, they're eastern hognose snakes. They come in different colors. This is the black color that we have right here. Now, a lot of old timers refer to them as spread outers or puff outers. That's because when in danger, they can spread their head out like a cobra. If that don't work, they will eventually play dead. You can mainly find them in sandy habitats underneath boards or any debris around the ground. These right here, this is an actual small one. They do get way bigger than this. And by last year, we almost had a world record, but we like 2 inches on that.
And the reason they get the name hognose snakes is because of one thing, and that's the pointed shape of their nose. It's turned up just like a wild pig. Now they use this nose to dig around in sand throughout the year to find toads. This snake only eats amphibians. He might occasionally take a reptile or two, such as a lizard, native lizards we have around here. But their favorite food is toads, southern toads, oak toads, and Fowler's toads around South Georgia.
Alright, this snake I'm bringing out right here is called a southern ringneck snake. Now yes, he may be small, this is as big as that he'll ever get. The reason they call them ringneck snake is because they have their orange ring around their neck and they also have an orange belly. Now that is what they show predators when something comes up and tries to eat them, because the predators, they think that it may harm them, so they leave them alone. They really only eat worms, slugs, and they will occasionally eat smaller snakes if they can find it. They're mainly found in woodland areas, especially in bark of pine trees, under logs, anything of that nature, you'll find them. And they're actually a pretty common snake around here. If anybody does any garden work, you may have seen them around in your flower beds.
Alright, now the animal I'm bringing out right now, he's fairly small, but there's one important thing about this little animal. This animal is a threatened species here in Georgia, and this is an actual alligator snapping turtle. It's only a baby. Move this mic down the old Alright, this animal full grown, can live to be about 200 years old. Some have even been found along the Okmulgee and Satilla rivers with musket balls in their shells from the Civil War era. Now this little turtle, even though he's about this size right now, he'll grow up to be about 250 to 300 pounds full grown. Now a lot of what old timers around here call alligator snapping turtles are not alligator snapping turtles. They're regular common snapping turtles. Now alligator snapping turtles, unlike their cousin the common snapping turtle, can be found in restricted areas across the southeastern United States. These animals, especially in Georgia, are only limited to 3 or 4 rivers: the Alapaha, the Satilla, the Swain, and the Okmulgee. That's about one of the very few places that you will find these turtles in the state of Georgia.
Alright, this next turtles that me and my brother have right here, they're eastern mud turtles. Now there are a striped mud turtle, but they'll have 3 stripes down their back. This is about as large as this one gets right here. As you can see, he's trying to whip around and get one of my fingers because they are pretty aggressive. They mainly stay in deep ponds where there's plenty of mud at the bottom. That's when you never hardly see them, except during breeding season. When it's time for them to lay eggs, you'll see them crossing roads or on sandy banks, stuff of that nature. Also, about the only thing they do eat, they'll eat aquatic bugs, insects, any kind of meat that they can find, and occasionally aquatic vegetation. But these right here, they are common, but to many people they're uncommon because many people can't see them because they're all the way down in the deep ponds and stuff and only seen crossing roads.
Now these 2 little lizards we got right here, if you can see them, this one's actually biting my finger right now. No, it's not hurting me, they don't have teeth. These lizards are called green anoles. We have them all over the southeast, and a lot of what people did as kids around here, they'd make them open their mouth and they'd clip them on their ear and wear them around as earrings. Well, they like to latch on to things, but mostly crickets and small bugs, and my finger, for instance. So, come mating time, they have a red dewlap. It's a flap of skin under the neck that they like to flash around to show females. Right here, as Logan's holding, is a female green anole. You can see how bright green it is. The one I'm holding is a little agitated, so he's turned brown. People like to call them chameleons down here. Well, their name is a green anole. That's A-N-O-L-E, anole. But people commonly see these along fence posts and old farmhouses. They like to stay close to the ground to where they can find bugs such as crickets and mealworms and things like that.
Okay, this next snake I'm bringing out right here, again a small snake, about as big as he'll ever get. This is a smooth earth snake. There is a rough earth snake, but the difference in the rough is he'll be a more dull color and he'll have more thicker scales. Now this is a shiny looking snake because he has smooth scales, therefore that's where he gets his name, smooth earth snake. They're extremely uncommon to see in the region we live in because they're mainly found underground most of their life. They'll find a little hole and go in there and stay most of their life, but occasionally they will come out and you can find them under logs or any other debris. They only eat mainly insects and invertebrates that they can find around the area. Now also, when picked up by humans, these snakes and the ringnecks I showed you earlier, they will never bite a human, and they're some of the coolest little guys to find.
Now these precious little guys we got with us right here are eastern box turtles. Now you can see on the front of these turtles, they're brightly colored. Their skin has different colored spots. Each turtle is a little bit different. Even from the shell pattern to the pattern on their skin, they're all genetically different. Now box turtles are what we like to call a keystone species here in Georgia. That means that these little guys are really important to South Georgia's ecosystems. We live in an area called Wiregrass, Georgia. Now that region spans all the way from the Piedmont at Macon down to the cliffs of North Florida. Right? They have sandstone cliffs made out of what's called Altamaha grit. Now these turtles like to live in those areas because they feed on other plants, tubular plants such as the wiregrass and other plants like the wiregrass. But there's one thing about these guys. They're subject to a lot of damage on their population. After a rain, you'll see these turtles crossing paved roads or dirt roads. A lot of people look at them and see how cute they look when you get up close and personal with them. And they decide they want to take them home and keep them as a pet. It doesn't work out too well for the turtle. These turtles can live up to 80 to 90 years. And not nearly any of the babies survive. Out of a hatch of maybe 16 or 17 turtles, maybe 2 survive. So these turtles have a lot to live for. And if it's not people stopping to get them and keep them as pets, it's wildfires or prescribed burns. These turtles, their natural instinct is not like a gopher tortoise. They don't burrow. They like to find pine straw and dig up under it to get away from the fire when it comes. Now one thing about pine straw we Southerners know is that it's really flammable. So when these turtles are up under that pine straw, that fire just cooks them alive. We've got some examples of some shells that were found recently after prescribed burns and some wildfires.
Okay, this next lizard I'm bringing out right here, it's called an eastern fence whip. Many people may see them because they're really common. They're kind of brown, they can be reddish in color, and they have a rocky pattern on their scale-wise. Now, the way you tell the difference between a male and a female is the male during mating season will have a blue chin and a blue belly, sometimes even a purple and black in color. This is a male. He's only barely lightly still got that because their mating season's about over with. There is a female over there where he's at, but mainly when you see these, they're going to be around pine trees and pine forest areas, especially any longleaf pines that may be planted in the area. You'll see them running up and down pine trees or under logs. They eat mainly crickets and other insects that they can find.
Alright, now y'all, this animal I'm bringing out right now is a little feisty with me tonight. So if I do wind up getting bit, I'm in no harm whatsoever. It happens. This is actually an eastern king snake. This is something many of you farmers or who grew up on a farm might recognize. Eastern king snakes are a really beneficial snake, especially in the southeast. They eat other snakes. And that's one thing that people really should know. They like to eat rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes and cottonmouths, all venomous snakes that live here in Georgia, and we have 6. No, there is not such a thing here in Georgia as a poisonous snake. And you see him whipping around my arm right now. He's frustrated because I'm trying to hold him a little bit. I don't feel like getting bit. So these snakes tend to hang around old farms and old homesteads that are abandoned. Some people call them chain snakes. One, because they look like they have black chains around them on this black body. Now, these king snakes, their defense mechanism is one thing, and it's not to bite, even though this thing really wants to bite me. It's musk. Snakes secrete a musk, which is kind of like a urine and a regurgitant all in one. Makes it smell bad, it makes predators want to go away from it.
Alright, this next snake that we're bringing out are actually two. My brother has one also. They're gray rat snakes. Some people may know them as oak snakes or chicken snakes. This one is no longer a juvenile, but he's about medium size. This one is an adult, but they can reach longer than this, sometimes reaching 7 or 8 foot. Now, they are extremely good climbers, and in the rat snake family, they have cousins also. They have the black rat snake, which is mainly found up in North Georgia. They have the yellow rat snake, mainly found in coastal Georgia. And they also have the red rat snake, which is also known as the corn snake, which is also around these parts that can be found. They mainly eat bird eggs, anything out of bird nests that they can get up and find, including the birds themselves. They eat rats, squirrels, other rodents that they can basically fit in their mouth and eat. Now, these are about the most commonly seen that you're going to find around Coffee County or anywhere in Georgia, especially South Georgia, where the region we're in right now. They mainly stay around barns. Anywhere basically you can find them. Anywhere that there's a rat, you'll find an oak snake right here or a gray rat snake.
Alright, now y'all, this animal I'm bringing out right now is kind of how I started to get my name. This is a common snapping turtle. Her name is Patsy. Patsy is about 60 years old, and she comes from the Ambrose area here in Coffee County. Now, like her name implies, she's a snapping turtle for one reason. She sits and waits at the bottom of a pond, river, lake, and waits for a fish to swim near her mouth. She has a tongue that's shaped like a little worm, and that tongue that looks like a worm draws in fish. So she just sits and waits with her mouth open for a fish to come in. When that fish gets close enough, her jaws snap in the split of a second. Now, I can demonstrate real quick what that turtle does. I'm going to try and hold her like this. Actually, I'm going to put her on my knee. So, she sits in the water, and if I can get her to open her mouth here. She waits like that, and when something gets close, she snaps. Now that wasn't much of a snap. She's normally used to this. She's a little tired tonight because we've had her out all day. But, snapping turtle.
Okay, I got an American bull